Cub fans, say hello to the newest Hall of Famer. You know him as the broadcaster who does Cub games every single day for the last 28 years. Pat, congratulations. I welcome you to Cooperstown. I can't welcome you to the Hall of Fame, but you are a Hall of Famer. What does that feel like?
Absolutely great. It's been an amazing experience all the way back, Bruce, to last December 7, when I got the call from the Hall of Fame notifying me that I was the Ford C. Frick Award winner for 2023, and that was delivered by Josh Rawitz, the president of the Hall of Fame. Just to get a call from the president of the Hall of Fame is a cool thing.
Okay, so Pat, you walk into the Hall of Fame with your family. You have some hors d'oeuvres, a beverage, and then you walk to the back of where the Hall of Fame is in the library, and there's Pat Hughes on the wall in the Hall of Fame. I can't imagine what that is like for a guy who has spent his whole career in baseball and has done as much as you have.
Well, and Bruce, you know I love baseball history. I love baseball broadcasting history. So it was, I don't know, perhaps extra special for a person like that who has a lot of interest. But it was amazing. I stood there looking at it and kind of in disbelief, but in great joy. And you think about posterity and the fact that this will be around forever and future generations will come by, and there I'm going to be on the same wall with Vin Scully and Harry Carey and Marty Brennaman and Al Michaels, and there's a great list of announcers, Mel Allen. I knew once I started I'd have to mention more, but it's a very special group, and I'm extremely proud to be part of it.
And in closing, I have a note to Cubs fans. If I was writing you a letter, it might read, "What an extraordinary group of people you are. I want to thank you so much for your unbelievable passion for the ball club and your support of me."
You give your speech, you talk in front of hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people every day on the Score. You do it on Marquee Sports Network when you do the television broadcast. Were you still nervous?
I was, Bruce, because of the uniqueness of the day. How many times are you going to deliver a live speech at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown? So that alone made it a little different. But I tried to calm down and take deep breaths. Very similar, actually, to when I was broadcasting Game 7 of the Cubs World Series against the Indians. Stay calm, let the words tumble out in the right order, don't get too excited. If you make a mistake, which invariably you will, try not to turn one mistake into 10. And I was literally saying these things to myself, but it was a little bit nerve-wracking. But at the same time, once I got into it, then I kind of got into my normal rhythm of as a broadcaster, and you have points you want to make. You make them as quickly and clearly as possible, and then you move on to the next one. And I haven't seen the video of it yet. It's always kind of interesting when you've done something live and then you watch it later. Invariably, there's going to be a mistake or two that you did not realize at the time. So I'm not sure what that'll be, but I'm sure I'll find one or two.
Pat, I've been getting literally 100 texts since your induction. I've gotten emails, and they're all from fans, Cub fans. They feel a stronger attachment to you, is what they're saying, than they do to the players. Can you relate to that and your involvement with Cub fans and what that relationship is like?
It's very special. It's a special fan base. It's a special organization, both in terms of numbers. There are millions of Cubs fans all over the world, Bruce, as you know. And they're passionate. They love the team. If there was a part that I really did kind of like about the speech, it's when I talked about Cub fans and those close games at Wrigley Field where the fans are more than just the ballpark atmosphere. They become part of the ball game itself, and invariably the fans will have a direct bearing on a dramatic Cubs victory, and that happens 4, 5, 6 times a year minimum. So it's special, and I think the fact, Bruce, that I've been here so long, ball players, I would say, on the average, are with the team 3, 4, 5 years. Very few guys are here more than 5 or 6 years. There's always a constant turnover, but there has been no turnover in my job now for almost 3 decades. So I think that continuity and that consistency is something that I know I'm very happy with, and I think the audience is too.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it and throw to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series. The longest drought in the history of American sports is over, and the celebration begins.
Your greatest calls, and we know it's never going to get better than the World Series call, being the only broadcaster in history of baseball to call a Cubs World Championship. You did that. We know about the Kerry Wood call. The one that is always confusing for Cub fans, and I wonder as a broadcaster how you felt about it and feel about it, is calling the Sosa-McGuire home runs, and how, as a historian as well as now a Hall of Fame broadcaster, you are able to get your head around what that is.
Well, Bruce, there's a song by Bob Seger. It's called "It Was Real at the Time." Now, he was not talking about baseball, but the home run chase between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire was real at the time. And it was exciting, it was dramatic. The pregame batting practice displays that both men put on were worth the price of admission. 2 hours before game time, you would have 40,000 fans in the stands oohing and awing on every long batting practice home run by both McGuire and Sosa. So it was special. It was very exciting as a broadcaster. Plus, if you remember, Bruce, the year before, the Cubs had a horrendous season. 1997 started off 0-14 and were done by the middle of April and finished way out of the playoffs. 1998, with Kerry Wood and Sammy Sosa and other ball players contributing, they actually made the playoffs that year. So it was very dramatic and very fun, and the home run chase was just like icing on the cake that added a whole lot of drama and spice and almost intrigue toward the end of the year to see which man would finish with the most.
Here's something that probably you've never been asked, but then again, you don't know. Size up Pat Hughes as a first-year broadcaster of Major League Baseball in 1983 with the Minnesota Twins, and the broadcaster you are today, and what might be some of the subtle nuances and difference that you see?
Well, experience plays a great thing probably in every occupation. And I think the more years that you put in whatever trade you're involved in, you're going to be better at it. So that's first off. I was just starting, but I had done about 4 or 5 seasons of minor league ball and covered college football and college basketball. So I had a little bit of a feel on how to do play-by-play, I think. But I was new and I was young and I didn't really know the game that well. I think you only really learn the game by several things. Working every single big league game for a season, working with an ex-player, and I've worked with Bob Uecker every day for 12 years, Ron Santo every day for 15 years, and just by sitting next to them, Bruce, you get to the ballpark every day at least 2 hours before the game. The ball game is 3 hours. That means you have 5 hours, just you and the former player, and you're learning all this knowledge about the way the game is played, the way the ball players think, what the catcher and the pitcher are trying to do to get the batter out, what the batter is trying to do to try to figure out what pitch is coming. So that was very valuable, and when I was a rookie, I didn't have that knowledge. But, you pick up things along the way, and that's one of the cool things about baseball, I think. You keep learning, and I'm still learning today, and I know you are too because you're smiling.
I am smiling, and I'm also thinking about your career still growing and moving forward, even after the Hall of Fame, even after 40 years of broadcasting, now 41, that you have added television and the Marquee Sports Network to what you do. And it seems to this objective viewer, rather, that you're just as comfortable doing TV as you are on the radio.
Well, I'm trying to make it that way. I think that radio, I've done so many thousands of games. That's still kind of my home base. But I love doing the television. I work with good people there, and Jim DeShays and Rick Sutcliffe and Joe Girardi and Doug Glanville, just to name a few. I don't want to leave anybody out. And we work with good people, Mike McCarthy and Mike Santini, and it's Mike Leary, the producer, is great, and Todd Benjamin. These guys are all good to work with. So it's a little bit more of a team effort on television. Radio, it's pretty much you and the color announcer, and that's the whole show. Television, you have cameramen, you have producers, directors, audio people. It's a whole crew of maybe 15 people. So there's a big difference. I enjoy it. I'm going to continue to try to get better at it. I think one thing you have to do when you're doing radio and then you go to TV, don't talk as much. You don't need to, because people can see what you would be describing on radio.
You have fun with your broadcast partners, whoever they are. It seems like the fun you have with Zach and with Coombs might be the most fun you've ever had in your career. I wonder how you feel about that.
I would say yes. Yeah, I think I am so happy now. And it's not just Zach and Coomer, but they're a big part of it. But it would be the engineers we work with, Paul Zarang and Rich Wyatt, and people like you, and Mitch Rosen, the executive producer. He's a lot of fun, and he gives us total freedom. The Ricketts family, they give us all kinds of freedom. And again, I know I'm not going to do this forever. I've done it for 41 years. I still have passion for it. I'm still trying to get things right as much as I can. But there will become a day when I just am not able to do it, or don't feel like I really have any desire to do it anymore. I hope that day is several years down the road, because it's so much fun right now. And yes, I have a blast with Coomer and Zach every single day, and I just enjoy being around them. It's funny. I was thinking the other day, ever since I've been about 10 years old, I love being on good teams. And I was lucky enough, I pointed out in the speech today, I experienced the childhood euphoria of playing on multiple championship teams. And when you do that, you fall in love with sports. It's fun, and it's still fun for me to be part of a good team, whether it's an athletic team or a broadcasting team.
And I've been lucky to be on your team as well, Pat.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Bruce. Thank you very much.